Have you ever felt like everything in life is working against you? Plans fall apart, relationships crack under pressure, and no matter how hard you try, your efforts seem to go unrewarded. It's a heavy feeling, like being caught in an unending current of failure and frustration. Perhaps you've found yourself asking, why is life so unfair? But pause for a moment. In those seemingly darkest times, what you need may not be an answer to the question why, but a new perspective, a way to rise above adversity rather than letting it consume you. Stoicism, a school of thought over 2,000 years old, offers us a guiding light when everything seems to collapse. Stoicism doesn't promise to turn your problems into joy, but it teaches you how to face life with strength, calm, and unwavering resolve. And this is not just empty rhetoric or abstract theory. What you're about to hear are lessons forged in the fires of life's challenges, drawn from experiences that I and many others have lived through. So listen closely, and don't miss a single part, because sometimes a single idea or a fresh perspective can transform the way you see and overcome obstacles. When life doesn't go as planned, this is not the end, it's a new beginning. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Number 1. Separate emotions from reality. When nothing seems to be going your way, have you ever felt as if the entire world is against you? Those feelings of frustration, fear, or even anger can overwhelm you, pulling you into a spiral of despair. But have you ever paused to consider that these emotions are not the reality? They are merely the subjective interpretations you attach to the events around you. Stoicism teaches us that the key to overcoming adversity lies in our ability to separate emotion from reality, to see things as they truly are, untainted by judgment or personal bias. Epictetus once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." It's not the events themselves that hurt us, but how we perceive and react to them. Imagine being criticized at work. Is it the critique itself that stings? Or is it the feelings of shame and insecurity it triggers within you? In truth, the critique is a neutral event, a piece of feedback, but your internal narrative transforms it into something painful. The distinction between emotion and reality is not just a philosophical idea, it's a life skill, one that can profoundly change the way we navigate challenges. Picture this. You're driving to work one morning, and suddenly, another car cuts you off abruptly. Your immediate reaction might be anger. Your pulse quickens, your face flushes, and you feel deeply offended. But pause for a moment. Do you truly know the driver's intentions? Was it a deliberate act of disrespect, or simply a moment of carelessness? The reality is this: the car cut in front of you. That's all. Everything else, the indignation, the sense of injustice, is a story your mind has created. Learning to separate what happened from how you feel about it can transform such moments. It helps you respond with calmness, instead of letting negative emotions dictate your day. Marcus Aurelius, in his timeless writings, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." True strength lies not in controlling the chaos around us, but in mastering our reactions to it. Focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your perspective, and your actions, and you'll discover a reservoir of peace and resilience within yourself. Think of an athlete who suffers a career-threatening injury. For some, this might signify the end of a dream, a reason to give up. But for others, it's an opportunity to focus on recovery, to rebuild stronger than before, The difference isn't in the injury itself, but in how they interpret and respond to it. By separating emotion from reality, they find the strength to move forward. Take a moment to reflect. How often do I let my emotions control my response to a situation? Think back to the last time you faced a setback. Did you pause to separate the facts from your feelings about them? Did you consider how much of your distress was self-imposed, rooted in interpretation rather than reality? If you reflect honestly, you may find that most of the pain we experience comes not from the event itself, but from the way we perceive it. Separating emotion from reality doesn't mean suppressing or denying your feelings. Instead, it's about learning not to let them take the wheel. It's a choice to approach life with clarity, to see things as they are, and not as your emotions would have you believe. Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." Reality, when seen clearly, is neutral. It's our interpretation that colors it with shades of joy or sorrow, peace or turmoil. The next time life doesn't go as planned, try this: pause, breathe deeply, and observe. Look at the situation for what it is, not worse, not better, just as it is. You may realize that the world is not conspiring against you. It's simply unfolding in its own way. And you have the power to choose your response. By mastering this practice, you'll discover that separating emotion from reality isn't just a tool for surviving hard times. It's a way to reclaim your strength and find peace in every moment. Number 2, focus on what you can control. Very few things in life happen exactly the way we want them to. This simple truth can feel disheartening, even overwhelming at times. But pause for a moment and reflect. Could it be that much of our frustration comes not from the world itself, but from our insistence that it operates according to our will? Stoicism, a profound and ancient philosophy, reminds us to shift our focus, not on controlling everything around us, but on mastering what lies within our power. This perspective brings not only a deep sense of peace, but also liberates us from the burden of unrealistic expectations. As Epictetus once said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." This is not advice to surrender to fate, but a powerful reminder that true freedom lies in how we choose to respond to life. Imagine you've meticulously planned a weekend getaway with your family. You've picked the perfect destination, packed all the essentials, and even checked the weather forecast. Yet, on the day of the trip, the skies open with relentless rain, traffic clogs every road, and your plans crumble into chaos. In that moment, do you feel exasperated? Maybe you're tempted to curse the weather, blame bad luck, or lament the wasted effort. But step back for a moment and ask yourself, is the weather or the traffic truly under your control? Stoicism teaches us that instead of fixating on what we cannot change, we should focus on what we can still do. Perhaps you could host a cozy indoor picnic, play games with your family, or simply enjoy a restful day at home. When we shift our perspective, what initially felt like disappointment transforms into an opportunity for creativity and connection. The world does not revolve around you, a truth that is often hard to accept. If your scope of concern is narrow, focused only on your career or family, perhaps most things will unfold as you hope. But as you expand your activities and aspirations globally, you will find that only a small fraction of outcomes align with your wishes. This realization can feel disheartening, but it is also an invaluable reminder. You are not the center of the universe. And when you let go of the desire to control everything, you'll discover a profound sense of freedom. Think back to the last time you felt angry or frustrated. Perhaps a colleague missed a deadline, or a friend cancelled plans at the last minute. Did you feel like the world was conspiring against you? But here's the real question. Did your anger change anything? Did it make the situation better? More often than not, the answer is no. Anger doesn't alter others' actions. It only drains your energy and peace of mind. However, when you accept that others' choices are beyond your control, a quiet sense of calm begins to emerge. This is the power of letting go. Life is not as complicated as we sometimes make it out to be. Our greatest struggle often lies in our expectations, the belief that everything should happen the way we think it should. But consider this. If something doesn't go your way, might it be going the way someone else needs it to? Or, if you believe in God or a higher power, perhaps it's unfolding according to that divine will. Letting go is not an act of defeat. It is a wise surrender to the flow of reality. Mastering what is within your power is not merely a philosophical ideal. It is a way to unshackle yourself from invisible burdens. When you focus on what you can control, your worries and discontent begin to fade. Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. So, when life doesn't go your way, don't despair. Remember, what truly matters is not how the world behaves, but how you choose to meet it. Number 3, everything will pass. When life doesn't go the way you hoped, it feels heavy, doesn't it? Disappointment clings to your heart, and the question, "Why is this happening to me?" echoes endlessly in your mind. But Stoicism gently reminds us of one universal truth: nothing lasts forever. The challenges, the pain, and the setbacks are all just waves in the river of life. They come, and just as surely, they go. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Time is like a river made up of the events which happen, and its current is strong. As soon as a thing is seen, it is carried away, and another comes in its place." Life flows on, and every hardship is but a fleeting moment in the grand journey. Take a moment to look back at yourself 2 years ago. Are your thoughts now the same as they were back then? The worries, fears, and struggles that once seemed so overwhelming, do they still feel as heavy? Or have they faded into memories, leaving behind only lessons? Perhaps you even feel grateful that things didn't go as you once desperately wished. Maybe that missed opportunity, that rejection, or that failure turned out to be the very thing that led you to where you are now. The impermanence of life isn't just a philosophical concept. It's an undeniable truth. Even the fiercest storm eventually subsides. The coldest winter must make way for spring. Our lives follow the same rhythm. The pain, frustration, and despair you feel now cannot last forever. What matters is how you embrace this truth. As Marcus Aurelius observed, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." Let the natural flow of life guide you instead of resisting it. Imagine someone who once faced rejection for a job they believed to be their dream. At the time, it felt crushing, as though every door had slammed shut. But a few years later, they found themselves in a different role, perhaps a better one, or one that brought unexpected fulfillment. The very rejection that once felt unbearable turned out to be the stepping stone to something greater. Have you ever reflected on what you once thought was a catastrophe, only to realize later that it wasn't so bad after all? Maybe the end of a relationship felt like the end of your world, but now you've discovered peace in independence or joy in a new connection. Maybe a failed project seemed devastating, but looking back, you see it taught you invaluable lessons. Pain and loss are temporary, but the growth they bring stays with you forever. Life isn't meant to be a series of perfectly orchestrated events. It's a journey, rich with emotions, joy, sorrow, triumph, and failure. That's what makes it beautiful. The things you once longed for, if they had come to pass, might not have brought you the happiness you imagined. And the challenges you faced? They've likely enriched your life, revealing the depths of your character and the strength within you. So, look at life with fresh eyes. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Remember, everything, whether good or bad, is temporary. Let the river of time carry away today's hardships, trusting that calmer, clearer waters lie ahead. Everything passes, and you will endure. One day, when you look back, you'll feel gratitude for the struggles that shaped you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you ever thought possible. Number 4. Turn challenges into opportunities. Once we understand that challenges don't last forever, we can learn to accept them as an inevitable part of life. Yet, Stoicism doesn't stop at mere acceptance. It urges us to take one step further, to transform what we don't want into opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Obstacles don't merely block our path, they illuminate the road ahead. Sometimes, the very things we wish to avoid are the ones that reveal our true strength. Think of the times when you felt most stuck. Perhaps it was when your career stagnated, a relationship fell apart, or your dreams were suddenly derailed. Did you let those moments break you, or did you find a way through? Hardship is not the enemy. It's a test life gives us to teach patience, resilience, and belief in our own capabilities. Thomas Edison's story perfectly embodies this idea. After failing thousands of times to invent the light bulb, he famously said, "I have not failed 10,000 times. I've simply found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is the Stoic spirit, to face difficulties without fear or avoidance, and to draw wisdom from each experience. You can do the same. If a project you poured your heart into is rejected, don't abandon it. Instead, view it as an opportunity to refine your skills, to ask yourself, "What can I learn? How can I grow?" Every setback is a chance to adjust your course and improve. Epictetus reminded us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. It's your response to adversity that shapes your future." Imagine a single mother who suddenly loses her job. In that moment, fear and despair might overwhelm her. But instead of succumbing, she decides to use her time to learn a new skill, like graphic design. Months later, she not only secures a better job, but also starts a small business of her own. Her story is proof that hardship doesn't destroy us, it shapes us. It gives us the chance to be reborn, stronger and more determined. In everyday life, challenges don't always come in dramatic forms. Sometimes they're as simple as work piling up, long days draining your energy, or feeling like you're not enough. Even in these moments, Stoicism offers strength. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Just as muscles grow stronger through rigorous exercise, your mind becomes more resilient through trials. When everything seems to be against you, pause and ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And what good can I find in this? This isn't just a mental exercise, it's a way to find light in the darkness. Hardship is not the end, it's the beginning. If you're standing before a closed door, remember that it doesn't mean life has turned its back on you. It might just be guiding you to a new path, one where you'll discover a version of yourself you didn't know existed. So, what will you do when life doesn't go your way? Will you sit and wait for time to ease the pain? Or will you rise and turn those challenges into opportunities for growth? As Stoicism constantly reminds us, the choice is entirely yours. Remember, no mountain is higher than your willpower, and no challenge is greater than the strength you can uncover within yourself. Life isn't always easy, but it's in those tough moments that you shine the brightest. Comment, "Growth through adversity," to let me know you've understood that the next time you face difficulties, you'll use the strength already within you, not just to overcome them, but to turn them into opportunities. Now, let's move on to the next lesson. Number 5, start with small actions. When life doesn't go your way, it's easy to feel stuck, waiting for the perfect moment to start anew. But have you ever noticed? Perfection never comes. Life doesn't hand us ideal conditions on a silver platter. Instead, it offers us small, often overlooked opportunities buried beneath the weight of disappointment and doubt. How often have you told yourself, "I'll start when I have more time," or "I'll try once things settle down"? But waiting for the perfect conditions only feeds procrastination and deepens your sense of helplessness. Epictetus wisely said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." If you want to change your life, you must act now, starting with what you have, even if it feels insignificant or imperfect. Even when it feels like the world is against you, a single small action can be the spark for a monumental transformation. Think about real life. A single mother, living in poverty, writing in a small cafe in Scotland despite the chaos surrounding her. That woman was J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, one of the most iconic literary works of our time. If she had waited for financial stability or the perfect moment, would we ever have known the magical world of Harry Potter? What she did, writing every day, little by little, proves the power of starting small, even when everything feels like it's falling apart. The beauty of small actions is that they often lead to significant change. Ask yourself, what small step have you taken today? Perhaps it was waking up early for a short walk, setting aside 10 minutes to read something meaningful, or choosing to learn one new word. You might think these actions are trivial, but over time, they build the foundation for a transformed life. As Seneca once said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, but because we do not dare that they are difficult." The challenge is not in the steps themselves, but in finding the courage to take them. At times, the weight of failure or doubt can feel unbearable. You might wonder if the small things you're doing even matter. But remember, taking action, even the smallest step, is how we reclaim control over our lives. Marcus Aurelius urged, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Don't waste your energy overthinking or debating your next move. Just act, however imperfectly, and you'll find that the act itself becomes a source of power. When we think of change, we often focus on the grand, far-reaching goals that seem impossibly distant. But we forget that every big dream begins with a single, small action. Jeff Bezos started Amazon as a small online bookstore. It was nothing extraordinary at first. But by focusing on incremental improvements, perfecting delivery, enhancing customer service, he grew Amazon into the global empire we know today. This exemplifies the Stoicism: move forward step by step and let progress accumulate. It's easy to dismiss small efforts as insignificant, to believe they don't matter. But it's these seemingly minor actions that create the most profound impact over time. If today you take 5 minutes to meditate, send an overdue email, or choose to shift your mindset, you're laying the groundwork for a better tomorrow. Ask yourself, if you started something small today, where might it take you a year from now? Perfection isn't found at the starting line. When life feels like it's unraveling, it's tempting to give up. But life doesn't demand perfection from us. It only asks that we take the first step, no matter how small. So, what will you do today to take that first step? Start with the tiniest action, and let the journey take you places you've never dreamed of reaching. Number 6, focus on solutions, not problems. As you lay the foundation with small, deliberate steps, it's time to harness that progress by shifting your mindset from dwelling on problems to actively seeking solutions. Starting small teaches us that every journey begins with manageable actions. Life, however, is rarely straightforward. Unexpected obstacles will arise. When they do, the key isn't to fixate on the difficulty itself, but to channel your energy into what can be done next. This shift in focus doesn't just keep you moving forward, it empowers you to navigate challenges with clarity and purpose. Imagine walking down a path and encountering a large rock blocking your way. What would you do? You could stand there and complain about the rock, blame someone for placing it there, or curse your bad luck. But would that make the rock disappear? Of course not. Instead, you could figure out how to go around it, climb over it, or even see it as an opportunity to build your strength. Here's another real-life scenario. You lose your job. Fixating on the problem might look like sitting at home, lamenting your bad luck, blaming the company, or cursing the economy. But a Stoic approach would be different. You'd ask yourself, how can I turn this situation into a positive turning point? Maybe it's an opportunity to learn a new skill, start a business, or find a job more aligned with your values. Remember, a problem is only a problem if you allow it to be. Your mindset determines what happens next. This philosophy applies not only to situations, but also to how we approach people. Every individual carries both strengths and flaws. If you only see them through the lens of problems, focusing on their mistakes or shortcomings, you'll soon feel that everyone around you is an obstacle. Reflect on this. In a disagreement, do you often point out the other person's faults rather than trying to resolve the conflict? Shift your approach. For instance, in the workplace, if a colleague consistently struggles to meet deadlines, instead of complaining or criticizing them, focus on the solution. How can you support them in managing their time better? How can tasks be allocated more effectively? This shift not only solves the issue but also fosters a more positive and productive relationship. Seneca reminds us, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. Look for the solution side of every person, the part where you can collaborate, grow, and bring out the best in them. A friend of mine once shared a story about preparing for an important presentation. Just hours before stepping on stage, her laptop crashed and she lost all her slides. At that moment, she could have panicked, letting fear and frustration take control. Instead, she paused and thought, panicking won't help. What can I do right now to salvage this situation? She quickly borrowed a colleague's laptop, called a technician to retrieve her data, and jotted down key points from memory. The presentation went on, and it turned out to be a success. More importantly, she walked away with a powerful lesson. Focusing on solutions always creates a way forward, no matter how dire the situation. Problems are not endpoints, they are stepping stones. How you choose to respond to them will shape the path you take moving forward. If this perspective resonates with you, give this video a like to let me know that next time you face a challenge, you'll ask yourself, what's the solution? And move forward with courage, calmness, and the mindset of a Stoic. Number 7. Lower your expectations. We often place too much expectation on the people around us and on life itself. We hope others will always act as we want them to, that everything will unfold perfectly according to our plans. But when these expectations crumble, what's left is disappointment, frustration, and sometimes even bitterness. Stoicism teaches us an essential lesson. Do not expect too much. Not because we should abandon hope, but because we must recognize the reality of life and the nature of human imperfection. Why do we so easily feel let down by others? Perhaps it's because we expect too much. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil. While this may seem harsh at first glance, it is, in fact, a wise preparation for the reality of human interaction. When you accept the world as it is, flawed and unpredictable, you become resilient to the disappointment that so often weighs us down. Think about the last time someone let you down. Perhaps you were working on a team project, and one member consistently missed deadlines or contributed poorly. You felt frustrated, maybe even angry, because you expected them to fulfill their responsibilities. But have you ever paused to ask yourself if that expectation was fair? Perhaps they were struggling with personal challenges or lacked the skills to meet your standards. The world is full of flawed individuals, but if you look for faults in people, you'll surely find them. Conversely, if you accept that everyone has limitations, you'll learn to work with them instead of against them. A person you see as difficult may have hidden strengths or redeeming qualities you've overlooked because your expectations clouded your vision. Expecting everyone to be ideal is unrealistic. It's like searching for heaven on earth. And if you want to work with perfect people, you'll have to go to heaven. It's not only people who disappoint us, life itself often falls short of what we envision. Think about a time you meticulously planned a vacation or an important event, only to have unexpected setbacks, bad weather, delayed flights, or a less than cooperative companion. If you fixate on these disruptions, they can ruin the entire experience. But if you approach life with the understanding that it rarely goes exactly as planned, you free yourself from the weight of disappointment. Reducing expectations doesn't mean giving up on life or on people. It's a kind of liberation. When you stop demanding too much from things outside your control, you'll discover a profound inner freedom. The world's imperfection is not a curse, it's the reason we grow. Ask yourself, when was the last time I felt disappointed? Was it because I expected too much? When you let go of unrealistic expectations, you not only shield yourself from disappointment, but also begin to see the good in others that you might have missed. In the end, Stoicism doesn't teach us to stop caring or striving. It teaches us to focus on what we can control and to approach the uncontrollable with grace. By letting go of expectations that don't align with reality, we find peace, resilience, and a deeper appreciation for life's imperfect beauty. Instead of demanding that life be easy, let us strive to become stronger. By doing so, we gain a sense of calm that no external chaos can take away. We've just explored 7 Stoic principles to help us navigate those moments when life seems to go completely off track. Each principle isn't just a dry philosophical lesson, but a practical tool to face challenges with calm and inner strength. Life, with its countless twists and trials, is not something we can fully control. However, the way we respond, the way we perceive difficulties, and the way we find solutions, that's what makes all the difference. Separate your emotions from reality, focus on what is within your control, and remind yourself that this too shall pass. If you found this video helpful but haven't hit the like button yet, please take a moment to do so. It truly helps spread this message to more people who might need it. Don't forget to leave a comment below to share your thoughts or personal experiences. We'd love to hear from you and connect. If you know someone who could use a bit of motivation today, share this video with them. It might be exactly what they need to hear. And finally, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the inspiring and valuable content we have coming your way. Thank you so much for being part of this journey with us.